Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. It's going to be a Protoss versus Zerg on the map Lost and Found, and also it's going to be on the balanced test mod, so I'm really excited to cast this one. And I also feel like it's been a while since I cast a good old ZvP. It's probably been like 3 replays or something since I cast one, but you know, can never get enough of the matchup. It's always exciting to see. There's a lot of variety and things like that. So let's just get on to introducing our players. Spawning up the top right-hand side of the map, it's Wolven Hellraiser. I believe he's on Team Wolf. Don't quote me on anything to do with this, actually. Let's just have a quick look. He is on Team Wolfslayer Esports. All right, what I was gonna say was wrong. But spawning down the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's Storm Zanster. So what we've got here is a Protoss versus Zerg on the balanced test mod. So it's going to be a little bit of uncharted territory. There's going to be a few things changed here and there. Now, while these players try and, you know, discover the sort of new meta. So it's going to be exciting to see what these guys are going to bring out versus each other. So far, Zanster has actually been pretty aggressive here, coming on in with an early spawning pool and getting gas behind it, so he's going to be putting on the aggression. Meanwhile, Hellraiser comes in with a probe scout, and this is a big deal for our Protoss player, as we see from his vision there that he's actually seen the spawning pool. So I mean, things getting started off pretty quickly. He's going to say, oh wow, you're piling on the aggression, so he's going to adjust his build a little bit. So he started his cybernetics core first, then he'll likely get up another gateway and a zealot in the wall pretty quickly afterwards, because these lings will likely be coming out at some point, even if it's just a few that you do generally want to try and get a wall up. All right, these lings are going to see that probe. Probe's going to have to run on out of there. Lings can catch probes, but it takes them quite a while, so we'll see if this guy escapes. He may get hunted down, may not. Now, as far as what we've got coming out of Hellraiser, he went for that cyber core before his Nexus, so he's got that quick adept on the way. And this is the telltale sign that it is on the test mod. We see that bar for how long the Corona boost is going to last. That's a neat little addition for the Protoss players. All right. But Ling's just out for Zanster. He sees this adept is out, so he's not going to try and dive on in there. So Hellraiser going for the early probe scout really paid off for him there. Zanster went for the delayed hatchery, so his economy is going to be behind a little bit, and he didn't really get anything from doing that. Now the adept's going to move out for Hellraiser. It's going to be able to scout in and out. The one thing that he does have to worry about this game, though, is if you're a pro player, you got to be thinking ahead. And it's that Zergling speed, because it was the very quick gas, the very quick spawning pool from Zanster, and that's like the key Zerg upgrade. So he's going to have out the very quick Zergling, so this adept does have to be careful out on the map. But for now, it looks like Zanster's not committing to too many Zerglings. So Hellraiser's adept should be fine. There's 6 out on the map now, which is definitely enough to kill an adept, but we'll see. He's on his way home already. So Hellraiser really respecting this, and he's following this up with a Phoenix now because he sees there's this pesky overlord of Zansters. These guys, I mean, it's the balanced test mod. You're not exactly sure what your opponent's going to be doing, so lots of scouting. So we're already seeing a Phoenix on the way for Hellraiser. It's going to kill off this overlord. He's going to pop there, and that's going to shut down the vision. Then Hellraiser can also go for an Oracle behind this. And that's going to allow him to try and pick off some workers, also very useful for getting vision, shutting down Zergling attacks, things like that. So Hellraiser, just from the opening of this game, is in a pretty good spot, but we'll see where he takes it. And his choice is going to be to follow it up with a pretty quick Robo, so no Stargate or anything like that, and then we'll see what else he goes for, because the Twilight's now on the way, so it's possible that this could be for an Archon drop follow-up. Nothing's changed in that regard as far as the balance mod goes. Okay, but Queen's now out on the map here. So Zanster, he's getting ready for this Oracle. He saw the Stargate, he saw the Phoenix, so, and I believe he may have even seen the Oracle being made, but these 2 Queens here should be able to work away on this, send that Oracle home, so good defense there from Zanster. And yeah, I actually definitely did see that Oracle building, so good just scouting and identifying that by Zanster. Okay. But as far as what else is on the way now, we're seeing +1 melee on the way for Zanster. He invested in that early speed. Seems like he wants to continue on with those lings, and now he's getting up a Baneling nest in a lair. Okay, so the Baneling nest is most likely for defensive, I had to say, because Hellraiser, I mean, he's still only on 2 bases, and Zanster sees this. he's going to be coming on into these bases. Seeing there's no third base basically says, oh, there's going to be a lot of Protoss coming my way. So he's getting up that Baneling Nest. He's going to have his +1 melee out. Maybe by the time the attack hits, charge is about 75 seconds away. So he should be fine, but he's likely going to have to worry about an Archon drop to start things off. And guys, Zerglings are not good versus Archons. There's really no way to sugarcoat that. So the Queens for this first defense are really going to have to do the heavy lifting here. Now, if the Zerglings can find the morphing Archons, that's actually very important. And oh man, this could be bad for Hellraiser. I mean, Archons can't defend themselves while they're morphing, so they're going to eat a fair bit of damage here as these Lings work away on them. And it actually forces the liftoff right from the start there. However, these Archons, I mean, now that they're out on the map, they can actually deal a lot of damage to those Lings, so those Lings really got to respect that. Now, what we see is Zanster maybe thinking of a counterattack. He doesn't have the +1 done just yet. It's going to be a second away, and there we go. It finishes up, so now he can start hitting this base. However, there's the Oracle here, and an Oracle can just kill Lings for days until it runs out of energy, and that Oracle has a lot of energy, so Zanster not committing on that attack there. As Hellraiser goes into his third base, Zanster getting up his +2 melee, so going to really rely on Lings this game. But, he is just on 3 bases, so we'll see it. Maybe a Ling Hydra attack here. Now, Hydras, it is the balance patch, so Hydras are going to be a little bit worse than they used to be. They're going to have a slightly slower attack speed, which, or a slightly higher attack delay. So basically that means they're not going to have quite as high of DPS. Blizzard was considering changing the health, but they decided to go with the attack, and then they reduced it just a little bit. A little bit more or a little bit less. Either way, it's definitely less than it used to be. Actually, I didn't quite catch that, but a few Banelings connected with the Zealots there, so this attack on this front seems to be getting cleaned up here. These Lings putting out so much damage, even maybe going to manage to kill this Archon. It's going to be so close that Archon just barely survives, but this attack at this other base getting cleaned up, so good defense there by Zanster so far. Hellraiser not finding anything just yet. Now those Zealots are coming on into the third base, but Zanster, as long as he keeps a decent chunk of drones alive, he should be in a pretty good spot. However, he still is only on 3 bases, so this isn't a great situation for the Zerg in the first place. And the losses are actually going to really start to mount up, because losing a few drones on 1 bay or on 3 bases is a lot bigger of a deal when your count is lower and when you're only on 3 bases. So Zanster immediately queues up another hatchery. He's getting up more drones, so he knows that he held that attack, and he's actually double expanding here. So that's something that I like to see out of Zerg players, but now we see Hellraiser. He tried to get some damage done. He didn't get too much done, but still, economy-wise, just from the opening, Hellraiser, he's in a better situation than he would have been versus, say, just a normal open Zerg who managed to defend that build. So Zanster playing pretty good so far here, but he's not getting anything too definitive this game yet. Now, Hellraiser, we'll see how he's going to take it. For now, he's just very worried about a potential Lingbane counterattack. This Oracle has been putting in the hours. He's got 4 stasis wards, 2 at each base. There's the first one activated on some Lings who were trying to sneak on in there. So they're not going to be able to get in or get anything done. Now we are seeing Psystorm, I believe, already done for Hellraiser though. So he's gonna have a lot of Stormy boys. So that's very good versus Lings and Banelings. But then Zanster, he doesn't seem to be going for an attack, which is a very mature decision from the Zerg player, because he was on 3 bases for a while versus a 3-base Protoss, but he's saying, nope, I'll just macro up. I'll get into my hive. He's getting more upgrades on the way, Baneling speed, really everything that he can. Eventually, he'll have to deal with this scary Protoss ground army that Hellraiser is teching to. But still, this is a very mature decision from Zanster, and I mean, Hellraiser is probably going to go for an attack at some point, but there's a Spire on the way, which is going to help out. There can always be a Muta swap or some Muta harassment. And then the Hive, I mean, it unlocks Broodlords, or it unlocks a lot of other things too. Well, I guess not too much other stuff, but it unlocks the real important stuff for Zerg. Now, while this Warp Prism for Hellraiser not finding anything, Zanster being very good with his defense. Now, +2 is on the way for Hellraiser, but there's already going to be 2-1 for the Lings, and then 1-1. So Zanster's actually going to be in an alright upgrade position. Nothing to worry about on that front. He's already gotten up his 5 bases as he got the one to the north, and Hellraiser has no idea about that base. So the longer Zanster keeps that alive, I mean, he doesn't really have to worry about defending that location, since it is just a, yeah, I'll take it, why not base. But yeah. He's now really focusing on expanding down to the right side of the map, cleaning up this zealot, these zealots that were left out to harass. But so far, I mean, these guys are playing this game pretty passively so far. That's, I mean, it is looking like a pretty standard PvZ. Hydras are going to be a little bit worse here, but, I mean, it doesn't matter how good Hydras are. They're not going to beat this army, just this little small portion of them. But Hellraiser just forcing the Zerg player back, really just establishing his territory. And now, I mean, he's getting into 4 bases, but what's he going to go into behind this? The main concern for Protoss in this patch is how carriers got changed. We don't really know how those work so far, because I'm actually going to quickly, I mean, professional commentating, right, guys? But you're hearing me type, and that is because I'm looking up the balance changes right now. The finalized list, basically, the TLDRs carriers are a little bit worse, but they build quicker. So let me just pull up the exact changes. It's one of these. Just got to scroll past all the BlizzCon stuff. All right, here we are. Not much is going on, just the War Prism harassment, so I'm allowed to tab out. But yeah, okay, so in this patch, I really should have pulled these up, you know, before I started casting a replay cast, but you know, we gotta fill the downtime somehow in the games, and I don't like fast forwarding through replays. Actually, Zanster coming on in here, gonna catch a High Templar, bait out some more storms. Those Lings, they took a bit of damage, but still, a full high, there's not much more valuable than a full high energy Templar, or yeah, a full energy High Templar. But, I mean, Hellraiser, he's really got this 4th base defended. Zanster not able to find too much, and we are seeing carrier tech on the way. So the question is, does Protoss have that late game supremacy? I mean, it was up for the air with how good late game Protoss was versus someone like, say, Serral. Because Serral really showed that late game Protoss wasn't the best, but versus him anyway, but he's obviously the best in the world. But before this patch, before this upcoming balance patch, late game Protoss is still pretty good. Now we're seeing Hellraiser come on in here. A lot of Zealots, they are going to get cleaned up with relative ease, so that's a nice trade. And I mean, that was a ton of Zealots that just got cleaned up by those +2 Lings, those Banelings coming in to help out. It is +3 for Hellraiser, but he is going to have to eventually worry about these Broodlords. And so, finally getting back to the point on the carriers, guys, the build time, it was reduced from 86 seconds to, so basically, 1.5 minutes to just over a minute. Then their health and shields were increased. Yeah, okay, so they got a health increase, which is pretty interesting as far as the changes go. Interceptor build time was increased greatly, so they're really gonna have to commit to their engagements. So, and killing the interceptors will be more feasible. Graviton catapult upgrade was removed, and the interceptor release period was changed, was basically reduced. So now with it, there's no more graviton catapult in order to make carriers good. They just have this base rate in which they go for, which I believe is going to be a little bit less than it would have been with graviton catapults. So they're going to be a little bit slower. But here we're seeing the carriers are going to actually move on in to deal with the Lings, so the Lings going to get shut down on that front, but there's a lot of counter harassment going on. That hatchery gets picked off by a Zealot run by, however, Zanster is hitting pretty much every base right now with these Lings. The 3rd base was under fire, but the cannons held strong versus those Banelings and Lings. The 4th base, the High Templar and the army on the ground was enough to shoo that away, but Hellraiser did get hit pretty hard by those counterattacks. However, Zanster, he's not at that fully comfortable late game Zerg style, which Zerg wants in order to deal with late game Protoss. I mean, so we'll see. He doesn't have a ton of spores. He doesn't have a ton of high energy spellcasters or anything like that. And so he did lose that base. So these guys, I mean, the situation, it's not looking too bad for Hellraiser as he's teching into all of these carriers and everything else on the way. Now Zanster, he really is thinking of dealing with this via the air. He's getting his +1 Zerg flyer attack. He's getting his +2 Zerg carapace. So he's really going to try and fight the air army, and we'll see. I mean, carriers are still going to be pretty good, but we'll see how it really affects things. I mean, as long as they have High Templar support, I feel as if that's the main backbone of what makes a carrier army good. But now we're seeing, I mean, Zanster maybe wanting to test the waters. However, he doesn't have a big enough army to really fight this. He's got tons of Broodlords back at home, but they're exactly that, back at home. And Broodlords are pretty slow, guys. But Hellraiser, he still is contained to 4 bases. He hasn't been able to take a 5th. He's probably going to want to do that pretty soon as he is maxed out. But this late game Protoss army is looking pretty scary. All these Archons underneath are going to say no to Corruptors that are going to want to dive on in there. The High Templar as well. So how exactly is Zanster going to deal with this? Now, he's investing in a lot more infested Terran, or infestors. They can throw up fungal growth, neural parasite, and infested Terran. And infested Terran are pretty good with their anti-air these days. But still, a lot of spores on the way as well. That's really going to be the key in order to deal with this. No, man, there's going to be a lot of spore crawlers. This is what I like to see from a Zerg dealing with a late-game Protoss army. If you're going to go toe-to-toe with it, you need a lot of spores and a lot of spellcasters. And Zanster is starting to hit that army. So we're going to see who's going to win out versus this. Now, Ling's still out on the map. I mean, the main thing that's going for Zanster right now is that Hellraiser, he's not on the best economy. He's on 4 bases, but the main base is pretty much mined out at this point. It's got a bit of gas left. Well, as I say that, one of the gas guys has run out, and that means the second will be following. So he's going to want to take another base pretty darn soon, whereas Zanster, he's on 6 bases. So that's really what the Zerg needs to deal with this. He's also maxed out. He's building a bank. He can invest in a lot of spore crawlers and getting up a ton of infestors. And we'll just see how well those casters are going to do with that. As far as infestor changes go, the reason I'm going over all these changes is partially because I myself am trying to get them all memorized. But another change, it's also that, I mean, this is new stuff. I mean, it's just one of those little facts that you got to keep in mind. Some of these changes aren't huge, but for example, the infestor unit radiuses, infestors are a little bit smaller these days than they used to be. Some zealot harassment being cleaned up. Infestors can now move through units while they're burrowed. And then basically their burrowed radius is now the same. So as far as balance, nothing too major. Their size is going to be a little bit smaller. So they may be a little bit tougher to click for Protoss to feedback or something. But then at the same time, they're also going to clump up more, things like that. And then, so really the only balance change was that infested Terran cast range has now been buffed by 1, so those infested Terran will be able to be thrown out a little bit further or from a little bit safer distance. However, fungal growth also got the buff in which it will no longer allow units to blink or use tactical jump or get into load into buildings or transport. So basically, they're going to be better at shutting down unit mobility than they used to be. They used to be very good just completely freezing the units, but then it got made so that the infestors, the units can slightly move, which actually was a really big change there for the non-Zerg players, I guess. Even for the Zerg players who had to play versus infestors, really changed things up. But I mean, as far as this game goes, guys, I've sort of just been rambling on about various balance changes, and that's because these guys, Hellraiser, playing it very passive, and Zanster playing it very passive, and the question is, one of these guys has to be wrong. One of these guys should be attacking. I mean, someone's got to win this game, and so that means that someone's making the right choice by not attacking right now. But we'll see. I mean, they're both maxed out. They're both starting to build a bank. The main thing for Hellraiser is that he is getting up to Nexus. He's probably going to want to transfer some probes. One thing that's going for Hellraiser is, while he's getting up all his upgrades in tech and everything, is that he's only at 52 workers, so his army is going to be a little bit bigger than that of Zanster. However, Zanster has all the spores, and Hellraiser can make the cannons. So while you're playing defensively, supply isn't absolutely everything, because, oh man, look at all these spores, guys. 24. That's 24 drones that have been morphed into buildings, so it's a rough life as a drone for Zanster. But Hellraiser may be showing some signs of life as he's deciding to move out on the map right now. His one Phoenix leading the charge, that hasn't died this game. The Oracle also in that army, gonna help reveal. I mean, half of or the main part of the game right now is getting the good engagements. I mean, because the one engagement here is really going to be everything. Now, Hellraiser's moving out on the map, but I imagine Zanster is going to be looking for some fungals, for some good parasitic bombs, perhaps. And, I mean, Hellraiser, he's pretty clumped up. It's pretty bold of him to be stepping on this creep. He's got the High Templar to help zone out these casters, though. Now, High Templar also had their feedback nerfed, which is a very big change. It no longer means these units will just die. Now, some of these infestors, I mean, stepping forwards, I mean, Hellraiser may just be going for it. He's launching out his interceptors. but some of his units are getting neural parasited right now. His interceptors, I mean, they're not going to rebuild as quickly. However, there goes the Psystorm down on this army, but I mean, a few neural parasites have gone down. His carriers are getting parasitic bombed like no other. Hellraiser could be losing the majority of his army here. However, can the carriers win out? Some of them are actually being neural parasited there, but he can focus down the corruptors. And if there's no more anti-air, this carrier army can just straight up win, guys. I mean, these carriers are stronger than they used to be, so they're just not dying to these corruptors. There's that extra health kicking in there. But oh my god, that engagement is absolutely crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it just to confirm that was right. And yeah, carriers, they've got 50 more health than they used to. And that's what really made them a tier 3 ship. The corruptors couldn't just pick them off as easy as they used to be. Yes, the carriers, their interceptors didn't release as quickly, but as far as the patches that are in the game now, I think carriers are pretty similar damage-wise than they used to be. They were considering some changes on that front, but they got rolled back. So, I mean, carriers are doing pretty good. Okay, now Zanster, though, I mean, he did end up pushing Hellraiser back. Hellraiser has really got to rebuild the support for his army, rebuild some of those carriers. I mean, I've been talking about the balance changes here. However, the good old Starcraft 2, the age-old, will I eventually run out of resources comes into play. And looking at it, I mean, yeah, Zanster, he lost all of his corruptors there, and Hellraiser got out with a lot of his carriers, but resources lost-wise, it is in the lead for Zanster. And look at this, Zanster, he's actually taken the base to the bottom right, and he's really locked Hellraiser out of any future bases. So Hellraiser's going to have to make something happen on this economy that he's got right now. He's not running out of resources immediately, but he is eventually going to run out. Oracle can tag that army, see exactly what's going on, but I mean, pushing into all these spore crawlers will be very tough. They just had so much health. They just pick off the interceptors, really preventing the carriers from dispatching of this army. Now more Vipers are on the way. They got some good parasitic bomb off in that army, but a lot of these carriers are stayed alive, and now Hellraiser has remaxed as a result. How many did he lose that engagement? He lost 5 carriers in that. He lost pretty much all of his Archons on the ground in that engagement. But now looking at this, I mean, he can't push into these spore crawlers, so he's going to opt for the base trade, it looks like. Hellraiser has rebuilt his mothership, so he also is going to have that to recall around the map. He's now just going to really try and sweep defeat out from under the Zerg, and I mean, these spore crawlers aren't going to be able to come in with this, and the Broodlords are very slow, so Hellraiser may just be able to go for a big base trade right now. He's picking off bases down in the bottom right. His Zealots are going to pick this off. Meanwhile, his probes are starting to mine at it. Then these carriers are just moving around the map. I think Hellraiser just really needs to commit on these bases because this Zerg army is so out of position, and then he can maybe recall. Zealots are going to clean up this hatchery. Shutting down mining there for Zanster is very important, but another base going to get killed off here. And then I think the best choice for Hellraiser is just to pick off all of this recall and then maybe reassess. Looks like his Oracle did go down there, getting off Revelation, which is actually very important. But look at this, the Spore Crawlers are coming for Zanster because he knows he wants to fight underneath them. But Hellraiser, he actually did just recall already. So, I mean, that was a pretty early recall. I think you maybe could have committed in, maybe going to the main base or something. But I guess you never know what your opponent has. But still, I mean, he got some damage done there. He cleaned out one of the bases. However, he did lose his own base, so he's going to have to expand down to the bottom right now. And we're sort of going to be in the same situation. Resources lost-wise, Hellraiser is still behind just a little bit. Zanster seems to be winning out in that regard still. Now Zanster making some Hydralisk as well to help out more Corruptors. But here comes in Hellraiser once again. He's going to wipe out this base. Zealots, I mean, Hellraiser, I mean, part of the reason why he's behind in resources lost is how many Zealots he's lost. He's lost 98. And I mean, that's not 980 minerals, that's 9,800 minerals, guys. So that's actually like, that's like a third of what Hellraiser has lost. That's slightly over a third of what Hellraiser has lost this game in resources. And a lot of those Zealots were just in run-bys. So he hasn't been getting enough damage done with them. And now, I mean, Zanster is going to push in on the space, but I mean, the Broodlords are actually pretty exposed right now. Hellraiser's pushing on in right now. it looks like, where is his mothership? That's still alive somewhere out on the map. It's actually going to recall the army in here. Now, this is a pretty bold move to get these carriers in here quickly. Spires are going to be focused down, so Zanster losing all of his tech. So this game is really going to come down to the last of these two big armies. Right now, we see Zanster. He's trying to decide what to do. The Protoss doesn't have many bases left, so it really is going to be all about these armies right now. And something that's also very important to note right now, where are those High Templar? Okay, the only High Templar Hellraiser has with this army are back at his base, but I mean, we're really going into a full-on base trade right now. Zealots are just sitting here, put on hold position for Hellraiser once again. With these, I didn't really talk about it too much at the start of the game, but with these Zealots, I mean, he's just thrown so much at his opponent, maybe investing a little bit too much in these counterattacks. Is there a recall? There is a recall here for Hellraiser, so he has that as an option, and he's going to do that to come back and try and kill off these Hydras, which are going to quickly retreat. We'll see how many of those get picked off, because, I mean, as far as production goes, Zanster, he's got a bank right now, but he's doesn't have too many hatcheries up, so not going to have too much larvae. He's rebuilding some Hydralisk, but I mean, he doesn't have any spires or anything like that, as he lost his lair, so he's going to have to restart that. One thing that he does have still, though, is all of his spore crawlers. But, I mean, Hellraiser, he's got a base down to the bottom right. However, he's got nothing defending it right now. And there's going to be these Hydras here. We'll see, is Hellraiser going to send something down to defend it? Because this base, if Zanster picks it off, Hellraiser, for now, the clock's not necessarily against him this game. But if Zanster, I mean, if he picks that base off, it definitely would be. So Hellraiser, we'll see what he's going for. He's just rebuilding interceptors, getting up a few oracles to tag his opponent's army. And the mothership, by the way, has just been hanging out back here. Have these Hydras found it? Where are these Hydras going right now? I mean, they're rallied in here. This mothership, I didn't notice this. It's easy to forget where the mothership is, but no, it's just hanging out down here. There isn't enough. I mean, the mothership, it can recall units to defend itself, I guess. But looking at this, Hellraiser, he's focused on expanding. This mothership just sort of just being hidden, I guess. It can always recall the army to it. Maybe for a positional play, say if Zanster moves in, Hellraiser can recall to the south or something like that, and then just catch his opponent off guard. So these guys are really moving around the map. Zanster's expanding towards Hellraiser. Well, yeah, both in the army sense, in his positioning, and in his actual base sense. Whereas Hellraiser, he's expanding south. So these guys have sort of swapped. If this game continues on and goes later and later, I think this works out better for Hellraiser, because Zanster's been mining from the north for a long time. And then Hellraiser was also mining at this base, whereas these bases down to the bottom right are a little bit more fresh. Now, okay, so I mean, Zanster knocking down that Nexus there. I mean, the Hydra's still lurking around. He's doing a very great job this game of just utilizing those small groups of units. And I mean, we'll see now. Zanster, I mean, the main base is still exposed here for Hellraiser. There's no doubt about that. I mean, all of his tech that's really left is at that base. Zanster, though, he's just very confident, staying back. I mean, a carrier, like a late game Protoss army, is nothing that you want to joke around about. It all comes down to the perfect engagement, and both these guys are waiting for that, and that's why we have this sort of bit of a stalemate situation. However, Zanster has been so proactive here. Another small group of Hydras. Well, I don't know what classifies as small, but when it's both maxed out armies, it's like what? Okay, I'm gonna do a bit of math. 15 Hydras. Something like that. So 15 Hydras, but they are going to go home. I mean, they're looking around, and meanwhile, the mothership, oh my god, the mothership's actually moving north, but the main base is actually going to be under fire. These carriers are now starting to chase those corruptors, but they hightail it on out of here. However, the mothership, it's actually just lurking around for Hellraiser. Is he going to recall his army to it, or is he going to keep it back? I mean, it's just been hiding out on the map. I mean, maybe Zanster thinks that it died or something, or is just writing it off as it hiding somewhere else. But scouting out for that would probably be good. But there's so much going on in this game that these guys are worried about. Just, I mean, it all comes down to this big engagement. But Hellraiser maybe looking for a sneaky move. His mothership core is or his actual full-on mothership's flying on in here. But a recall gets baited down to the bottom south, down to, I guess, the bottom middle base that he has. I mean, well, these guys have moved all over the map at this point. But that mothership is still hanging out, and he actually is going to recall all the carriers in here. But Zanster's army's coming on in. All the corruptors are moving forward, but he does back off for now. We'll see if he dives on top of this. I mean, this army, there's no recall for it. Hellraiser is fully committed into this, but he's cleaning out what I believe was becoming a hive there, and we'll see. I mean, Zanster not diving on top of this, showing so much respect to this Protoss player. Meanwhile, Hellraiser does have this base up, but he doesn't have any pylons or any more cannons up at it for the time being. Now, Oracles are using Revelation. He's cleaning up lots of creep right now. There is an observer in the army, though, so, I mean, Hellraiser really just, this Protoss army is just cutting out sections of the map, and Zanster's just really staying out of its way. It's a bit of a stalemate we've got right now, guys. I mean, the new carriers, they're pretty good, but you still can't engage into like a full-on Zerg spore section. But Revelation going down on all the spores. I mean, Hellraiser, if he's going to take a fight, he wants to take the best one possible. A few Hydras actually got caught in the stasis trap here, coming in from a different angle, but they are going to eventually get out of that. However, Hellraiser, I don't think those Hydras are going to be long for the world unless they get out of here, because this army's moving south a bit, but maybe. Oh yeah, there's a recall. Hellraiser just using so many of these recalls, man. Just the Hydra's now going to run on out of there. Hellraiser actually splitting up his army a little bit, but those Hydras will go down, and I mean, as far as every little unit like that matters, right now Hellraiser is up on supply. I mean, the whole base ratio has been sort of it's been scrambled up, but I mean, being efficient at this stage in the game does still matter. Zanster still has a pretty good bank, and now he's actually coming in with the Corruptors here once again. He knows that main base is exposed if the main army's down here, and so he's going to see what else he can get. It looks like he'll be getting the Nexus, a gateway, a few Stargates here, so that's a nice pickoff. And actually, this Nexus down south here, Oracle's going to have to activate its Pulsar Beam to clean that up, but these are cracklings. They're focusing down that Nexus so quickly right now. Looks like they will run on out of there, but good job Zanster keeping them alive when he knows the army's coming back, and he picks off some of the main base tech there. I mean, getting all the main base tech would be perfect. Just even like a handful of Lings or something in here would be good, but for now, these Lings actually getting on into the base to the bottom right. I mean, those probes are forced to run, and the probe count for Hellraiser dropping even more and more, and I doubt he's going to replace those. It's probably going to be all army, because this game is going to come down to that big army fight. Zanster, though, looking at this, going to pick off the base to the left here. As Hellraiser, he was busy dealing with that army on the right. Just not enough static defense here for Hellraiser. Those Lings, those 3/3 adrenal gland Lings can tear through pretty much anything. I mean, yeah, like bricks, cement, concrete, nexuses, you name it, they'll get through it. But Zanster, I mean, he's still sharking around on the map. These Lings are now going to go into the main base, which is very exposed, and they're just going to tear all these buildings down right now. We'll see if Hellraiser tries to save this, but he may just be saying, all right, enough is enough. I'm going to go for it. He's going to be losing his Cyber Cores and his Temple Archives. I'd say maybe a little bit later than, I mean, his main base hasn't been defended, so them staying alive this long, I guess, has already been good for him. But looks like his blink that's researching will be canceled. Just randomly the 32-minute blink, guys, I guess just for the potential Stalker remaxes if he needs it. But getting up a good number of cannons here. Doesn't want to die to another Ling run-by or take any critical losses to a Ling run-by. But this main army is still here. He may be looking for an engagement right now. Zanster's positioning right now, moving all of his spores. I mean, one thing to talk about, if you're a Zerg player, managing all these spore crawlers is not an easy task because you have to line them up. There's no easy way to completely reburrow them super rapidly. You still got to line them up properly, and it's not like it's just a big grid he's setting it up on. There's all sorts of blockers and creep tumors, so Zanster's got to be very proactive with these spore crawlers because he does need to anticipate whatever Hellraiser's going to throw at him. But Hellraiser still is sharking around, cleaning up creep tumors. He's got his mothership core, or his full-on mothership. I'm going to be making that mistake. I mean, I wasn't even a caster back in HOTS, guys, I'm going to be honest. Or not much of a caster anyway. No, I wasn't really a caster at all back in Heart of the Swarm. But I'm still going to be calling it the mothership core. Till the end of time, probably. But no, it's a full-on mothership. That hatchery that Zanster was attempting to take goes down, but actually big counter damage, it looks like, once again going down here. Or maybe not. These cannons are trying to hold strong. However, there's only 2 of them left, and these Lings are just tearing into them so quickly, these cannons. I'm not sure how long they're going to live for this. We'll see if Hellraiser's just going to commit, but he actually does decide to recall right now in order to defend his base. I mean, just a handful of Lings forcing that recall, pulling Hellraiser out of position, buying Zanster more time. And I mean, Hellraiser, when he had the prospects of getting up a lot more bases, it was maybe looking a little bit better for him, economy-wise, but no, Zanster's the guy who's mining a lot more as Hellraiser. His probe count's very low. He hasn't taken any of these other bases, so, I mean, the thought of him building up a huge bank or anything isn't really there, so it is just all in this army, and Zanster's the reason for that, just with his constant counter attacks, and he's setting up a lot of Lings right now that he may be going for another one. mean, Hellraiser is maybe looking to go on in now. The Lings are going to be moving on. If we watch that mini-map, there's that blue blob waiting for the opportunity. The whole army is here, so I imagine we'll be seeing Zanster going in, but he's waiting for a good engagement as well. Both these guys, if it comes down to managing like a small little harassment army or managing your main army, it's definitely the main army that takes priority, because one misstep and these guys could be in trouble. Good feedbacks going down there for Hellraiser. Feedbacks going down, more and more Psy Storms, lots of feedbacks. It looks like Hellraiser may be taking this fight right now. I mean, Infestor's still getting one shot by that feedback if they're full on energy. But Hellraiser, he's taking this fight. He's moving on in. It looks like he's had enough. He's just going for it. Those time warps have been thrown down. There's not too many Templar left on the ground, it looks like, though. Neural parasites, fungals, and parasitic bombs are all going down. The corruptors, there's so many corruptors focusing down these carriers. I mean, they're tanky, but it looks like the number is starting to fall. There's not many infested Terrans under here, I don't think, as it's mainly just been neural parasite, but lots of transfuse going down. And Zanster's army, I mean, Hellraiser, he just went for it, but I mean, things were looking pretty dire for him on his side of the map, so he just tried to go for it, but it didn't work out. Anyway, that was a crazy game on the new patch. I'll also link all the patch notes. I mean, it's a learning thing, guys, figuring out all the new patches and all the slight tweaks off the top of your head, how they're going to come into play. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy the cast, feel free to leave a like. I know it was a darn long one, but if you if you did enjoy the cast, feel free to leave a like. If you enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe, as I'm always putting out more. But yeah, that was a long cast, man. I shall see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.